Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave with Autumn wearing armor. Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you. You know how much we love armor here in the cave, and we haven't spoken about this until just this second.
Yeah.
Tell me what this beautiful suit you are wearing is and what's going on.
Well, this is actually a version of King Arthur from a game called Fate Grand Order.
Okay.
So it's like a reimagining of like historical figures, and so I was like, I needed to make the King Arthur one, obviously, right? But when I was building this, I realized that like I treat my costumes kind of terribly. Once they're done, I throw them in a box and forget about it.
Of course.
So this is all leather.
This is all leather. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so I made this all out of like a 5-6 ounce veg tan leather. Wow. And so the nice thing is that once you like wet it, you can form and shape it. It's kind of like Warbler is with heat, is water and leather.
Yeah.
So, and it makes it really hard. So I was able to do like I did a full like acting set, like 6 hours of filming with this. I've done multiple conventions, traveled with this set, and haven't touched it up once.
So you consider it's way more durable, comfortable, wearable, storable, travelable
yes,
than a metal set of armor.
Yeah, even in our fight skit that we did, we threw one of us through a table and walked away, no scuffs, no nothing. It made it super easy.
Amazing. Okay, so you're playing this game.
Yeah.
And you see this armor.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's me. I must be wearing this.
Yeah.
How long is the space of time before you having that realization and realizing this armor?
So I made this and another set. I actually made Gawain from the Knights of the Round Table as well. Yeah. And I did them in 2 months, from concept to like filming everything in 2 months.
And when you're doing forming of these parts, are you forming over forms or are you sort of free forming or a little bit of both?
So I actually use like paper templates because paper, like when you cut leather, it's pretty flat to start out with.
Of course.
So if paper can bend that way, then it's fine. And if you have to put a dart in, that's when you would take in consideration the wet forming.
The compound curving.
The wetting it and really stretching it over.
Okay.
But a lot of the round basic curves are just over my knee because I did this all in my apartment during COVID. So I was just like, I had to do use what I had and go from there. But sometimes for more like shaped pieces here, what we'd actually do is we would wet it, and then my partner sat on a stool like this for about 2 hours, letting it form and letting it dry because that's what we had.
I love that. That makes me so happy. Is it so? And then once you've formed it, it's got to dry, and you need it to dry in place.
Yes.
Right? Because otherwise, if you put it over, it's going to settle and.
Exactly. So sometimes what we do is like for these kind of rivets, these are pop rivets. So you just kind of pop them in place and they hold it. So you're supposed to put your rivets in afterwards because a lot of the finishes and dyes will take all the paint and stuff off the rivets.
Right.
So what I do is I put all of my rivet spots in, pop them in, do my wet forming, and then it holds it in place for me. I can walk away. And then once it's done, take the rivets out, then do my finishing.
Nice.
And then I fully secure the rivet afterwards.
I love that.
Yeah, it makes it super, super easy. So especially with the complex pieces.
Yeah.
Like, so all of the pieces were just held in place and then walked away.
Do you know about Cleco connectors?
No.
Okay. So this is an aerospace tool, and it's meant for temporary holding of two holes that have been drilled for a rivet in which you don't want to put a rivet in.
Yeah.
And so what this is that now will go through an 1/8 inch hole, and when you let it go, it will hold into that 1/8 inch hole securely. But because you're using leather, it would stretch that hole out, so you'd need a backing plate. But Clecos, like in aerospace, when they're working on airplanes, they'll have a whole panel with like 40 Clecos all the way around it as they're aligning everything. It'd be a really fast way for you to be able to do some assembly.
That'd be super, super cool.
You can often buy batches of these on eBay.
Excellent. Excellent.
For out of work aerospace engineers. Tell me about the metallic finish, because I've had difficulties getting a nice metallic finish.
So I actually have a picture in my like little like workbook thing. So when you like compete in cosplay competitions, you gotta like make a workbook.
I didn't know this.
So you have to show them a book.
Oh, it's proof that you actually worked
everything,
on it.
But also you only have like 3 or 5 minutes. So in your prejudging, that's it.
Yeah.
And so you build this so as a judge you can go back and look at it.
Gotcha.
And so I have a page here of all of just the different like color tests and ways to do it because I needed this metallic finish.
Yes.
So what I ended up doing is I did 2 coats of the silver water stain.
Okay.
But the water stain, especially the metallic one, is really it's not very pigmented and it gets a lot of streaks.
Right.
So I use this to get the sheen, and then the Angelus paint to get the fill and the saturation.
I love it.
Because if you just use that, it's too thick and it's gonna crack and wrinkle.
Right.
So I do that a lot. I combine
with an
paints
airbrush?
and no, it's all hand painted.
Oh, hand painted, all brushed on. I might have. Hold on. I think. Yes. This gave me a really impressive silver. This is an upholstery leather spray, and it's not. The thing that you've got here is it's very durable and it will hold this sheen no matter how much you abuse it. But when you want a brighter, higher shine,
just really
this gave it to me.
Yeah.
And I was doing the same thing. I'm trying to remember what I needed to be silver. It was part of, I think, the gloves of the 2001 spacesuit.
Yeah.
Because they're half silvered.
Yeah.
And it was playing around with that. And this gave me exactly what I was looking for. I did about 5 different tests.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We got to share this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that in addition to, this is beautifully laid out.
Oh, thank you.
As well. You're a graphic designer?
No.
You have an eye, though, clearly.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I build a lot of these build books for competitions, and it kind of sucks because only like 3 people see them when you hand them to your judges.
Oh.
So I build them, and then I have like the PDF available online for people to look at it. And then I get it enough that people ask me how to build the book. So I built a book on how to build the build book. Yeah, it was like a lot.
Oh my goodness. Dude, and then this is also your handiwork.
So this is again, the paint on this is, it's a combination, it's a 2-to-1 ratio of the EcoFlow paint and then the dye.
So this isn't edging you bought, this is leather that you painted.
I didn't paint it actually, I 3D modeled and printed my own stamps.
Oh, yes! So you're doing pressure stamps to get this pattern on a wet, that's incredible.
So,
Autumn.
This is actually the Hylian language from the Zelda game, and I took the Impa speech and I translated it on the entire costume, and then, so this actually like says a whole bunch of stuff on it, and so this is just impressed, leather stamped in, and then I used Copic markers to darken it, because it's so shallow, and like the spaces are so wide that you can't use an antique on it. So and I use the EcoFlow on the Copic marker on tons of things just to get some more depth in.
I did a similar thing for this guy, for the pattern on there. It was also a laser cut piece that I wet and just stamped all the way through. And I had to make a bunch of this. It's I'm 3D printing. It's a lovely time to be alive, right?
It is, yeah. So, because we did this in it was 2021, and we were trying to figure out how to get these designs in, and in the book it says that they're made out of leather, so I was like, well, that's what we're doing, and that's how I figured it out. But again, I combined my leather dye and paint because then I got because if you've used the EcoFlow paint, it's kind of desaturated. Yeah. So when I put the paint in with the dye, I get the pigment of the paint, so this won't tan over time. Oh. And then I get the flexibility of the dye. Even though it's a leather paint, I get more flexibility with it. So this has traveled, I think this is the 4th country it's been in. I've shoved it in a suitcase and I roll it up and it's fine.
I love this.
Which is good.
The other thing I want to say to you is when we make our costumes and we're trying to replicate a kind of a feeling of, a royal marshal, your royal seamstress made these pieces, and they carry all that pomp and circumstance. And one of my issues with the world these days is that a lot of this stuff is made too perfectly, and the perfection of its manufacture, to me, pulls me out. But I've been lucky enough to handle some real old, hundreds of year old pieces of kit, and this feels so much more like that. Because it feels, there's an aspect to the absurd level of your craftsmanship that is sort of devotional.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I look at an old religious icon, I see that the labor is in and of itself a marker of devotion. I see the same thing here.
Oh, thank you. This was definitely my love letter to Zelda for sure.
Oh my gosh. And so you put some messages in here about...
Yeah, it's all of Impa's speech about the history of Hyrule and how everything came to be. Yeah. and it's
man.
all, yeah, I did it on both sides because I wanted it to be flipped. On this too, this skirt, it's on
So then
both
somewhere there's a
sides.
spreadsheet of how many inches you had to fill and what you could get in that
Yeah, I
amount
had
of...
multiple copies of the script, and I had to just highlight to what letter I got to every time, so then I knew and I didn't duplicate it or anything. And then I tried to pull parts of the speech and put like the meaningful parts on. So I think I put the parts of the hero on Link's and the parts about Zelda on Zelda's, and yeah.
Okay, wait, I got one more nerdy thing to show you. I used to think that this was one of the nerdiest things I've ever seen, and I mean that in the best way. A fan made this for me. This is the Doctor Who theme knitted in binary into a scarf.
That's amazing.
But Autumn, I'm going to say this surpasses that in just the magnificent deep dive into fandom and a celebration of a franchise you love.
Thank
this
you.
Oh my God. How many movies did you watch sitting there?
Oh, yeah.
Lots and lots of...
But I did find working through the velvet, I ended up using my leather Glover's needle
Yeah.
to go through this because it was too thick for a regular embroidery needle. So I used the Glover's needle with the 3 points to go through it, and it was able to cut through this. But I did the embroidery on this. I did the entire hand embroidery on the skirt as well.
No!
So this is all hand embroidered over this. But what I did, you'll notice that all the rhinestones and stuff are on this.
Yeah.
I was like, Zelda's the princess. She would have all of this detail. But Link, if something came up, he wouldn't be able to fight with beadwork and stuff on his garment. So that's why it's all on hers and not on Link's. I play a little bit too much Zelda.
I'm so... And then this is also, I'm sure, you're talking to your fandom, as it were. Wow. Oh my gosh. And this is all hand sewn.
Oh yeah, the entire costume's hand stitched. I poked all the holes, and I had friends over, and we're all just stitching to like all these movies. I bought pizza every night so we could all like help get this done, and it was great.
All that effort shows.
Yeah.
It is so amazing. I'm so inspired. My sewing machine broke and I just got it back, and I've been like looking forward to sitting in it, and this is getting me even more inspired. Autumn.
Oh, thank you.
You are insane, and I mean that in the highest possible complimentary way. I really appreciate this dive. And thanks for sharing your techniques with me, and also
I learned
PDFs
some
with the
things
world.
too. Yeah.
Amazing.